If there's one thing I try to hammer home on this channel, it is value. That means getting the most amount of gameplay possible for the least amount of money possible. And that's what I really want to highlight in today's video, specifically 10 super cheap PlayStation 4 games that you can put over 100 hours on. Now, how do I define super cheap? Well, it's any game that's regularly available for south of $20. Now, all of these games might not be available for $20 at the time of you watching this video. However, at some point, I guarantee you the game will be available for under $20. And I also have listed the price that the game generally goes for at the cheapest, so that should help be a little bit of a guide for you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Kicking things off, we have a game that's very much in the news right now, and that is Borderlands: The Handsome Collection. Now, this one is actually available for $14.99 right now on the PlayStation Store. It just got updated as well with a 4K texture pack, so now is not a bad time to pick up this. But yeah, you can easily put over 100 hours in this game, because not only does it include Borderlands 2, not only does it include Borderlands the pre-sequel, we've got a bunch of DLC content in there as well. Just generally going through those games are gonna let you clock in over 100 hours, but also these games are incredibly replayable with all the different characters that are available, and just the sheer amount of fun it brings to the table. Borderlands is a game you can always find yourself going back to, whether you're playing it alone, whether you're having a chaotic experience with a couple of friends. Borderlands is just an awesome time. Of course, Borderlands 3 is coming later this year, September 13th. I know most of you guys have that marked on your calendar, but that's still a ways away. You've got the rest of the spring to go through, you've got the rest of summer break to go through, so Borderlands Handsome Collection would not be a bad buy right now to get you geared up for Borderlands 3. And of course, we also had the release of Borderlands 1 Game of the Year Edition on the PlayStation 4, unfortunately priced a little hefty at $30. I would say get the Handsome Collection right now if you are looking to get into Borderlands. $15 for 2 games, a bunch of DLC, you can't go wrong with that. Next up is a game that had a story development cycle, and that is Final Fantasy 15. Specifically, I want to recommend you guys the Royal Edition. You can find this for around $19.99 on sale. That is for the physical copy. When I see the digital copy go on sale, it is around the $25 range. However, Final Fantasy 15, for all the controversy that it has, and a lot of that rightfully so, there are some issues with the game. From a storytelling standpoint, FF15 is an absolute train wreck, even for Final Fantasy standards, which generally have a little bit more wacky storytelling. Final Fantasy 15 is pretty abysmal in that regard. However, FF15 still does offer a lot of things to like. The open world is gorgeous. Visually, this game is one of the best that you're going to see on the PlayStation 4. The gameplay is very fun, a little bit arcadey in a sense in that it doesn't require a lot of skill. However, it's definitely a blast to play through, and with the Royal Edition, you get a lot of additional benefits that probably should have been in the game from the get-go. But not only do you get the FF15 base game, you get all of the episodes outside of Episode Arden, which was just released as a standalone, but you get Episode Prompto, Episode Gladius, as well as Episode Ignis, and those should have probably been in the game from the get-go. But nonetheless, those are there. You have the Royal Edition upgrade that adds a sizable amount of content, and you have the Comrades Online multiplayer, which is pretty good. All of that in one package for $19.99, even though FF15 has its faults. If you're going into it just expecting a fun open-world RPG, you're gonna find that here, and for $19.99, it's a great buy. Next up is another game that I had my gripes with. However, Assassin's Creed Odyssey being readily available for $19.99 is an easy recommendation. Now, from a fundamental standpoint, you guys know that I absolutely love this game. I thought Assassin's Creed Odyssey was such a well-done game. Visually, it's stunning. The open world is enormous. The gameplay is super satisfying. However, if you just want to go through the single-player story like me, you don't want to take a lot of time and do the side content and kind of ruin the point of playing a game for over 100 hours, then yeah, this game isn't going to be catered towards you. However, if you really want to get invested into the world of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, do all of the content, man, you can spend so much time into this game. And bear in mind that Ubisoft is constantly updating the game. Expansions are coming. There are free updates adding a lot of missions, and Ubisoft has been incredibly committed to Assassin's Creed Odyssey as an experience. For $19.99, it is easily worth it. And yes, Assassin's Creed, generally not known prior to Origins being a game that you can invest over 100 hours in, but after Origins and Odyssey, you can definitely spend over 100 hours in these games. Next up, we have Grand Theft Auto 5, which I believe right now on Amazon is available for $14.99, so great deal on this as well. Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the most iconic games in gaming in recent memory. Honestly, probably will be remembered as one of the most iconic games of all time, and it's easy to see why. Now, I imagine the majority of you guys have played this game at this point. However, if you haven't for whatever reason, or you're just looking to revisit the game on the PlayStation 4, it is a really good time. Of course, the PS4 version is considerably enhanced from the PlayStation 3 version from a visual standpoint. Of course, you've got the base open world single player mode, and then you've got GTA Online as well. Those two coupled together means that you can invest a ton of time into Grand Theft Auto 5 if you're really looking to get into it. If you even strip out the online component, you can invest a lot of time into Grand Theft Auto 5 single player mode, but then you throw in GTA Online as well. Yeah, you're talking north of 100 hours of gameplay, even 200 hours of gameplay to be perfectly honest. And now that all these years have passed and Rockstar is finally discounting the game and it's readily available for around $14.99, yeah, I give it a strong recommendation. Next up, we have an MMO that's been gaining quite a bit of steam, and that is the Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited. Now, this, when it goes on sale, is about $9.99. However, I also do want to mention that it is fully playable if you are a PlayStation Now subscriber, which is a service that has been gaining quite a bit of steam as well. However, $9.99 for those of you that just want to buy the game while it's on sale on the PlayStation Store. It was just available for that price as a part of the Elder Scrolls 25th anniversary. But nonetheless, as an MMORPG goes, the Elder Scrolls Online obviously had its fair share of issues at launch. But much like another MMO, Final Fantasy XIV, it became a substantially better experience over time. It became more compelling through updates, expansions, and now we have another expansion coming later this year that's going to diversify the experience even more. And of course, just like with any other MMO, you can invest a ton of time into the Elder Scrolls Online, and the lack of a subscription fee is great as well. For $9.99, if you're looking to take an Elder Scrolls experience online, Elder Scrolls Online Tamriel Unlimited does a pretty good job, and it's readily available super cheap. Next up is another game that kicked off at a pretty shaky start, however, it's gotten considerably better, and that is No Man's Sky. It's available for $9.99 typically at GameStop. However, I do notice that the GameStop copies are out of stock right now. They have used copies for $17.99, figure that one out. I believe Walmart also has the game for $9.99. Digitally, the game goes for like $29.99, which figure that one out. And that's when it's on sale. Regularly, it's a full $59.99, but nonetheless, if you look for it, you can get No Man's Sky at a good price. That's what I'm saying. And this game has gotten so much better since its initial release. From the No Man's Sky next update, No Man's Sky Beyond is coming. They are just making the No Man's Sky experience so much better. And bear in mind that No Man's Sky in 2016, you were getting a quarter of the experience that you are getting now, and you were paying a full $59.99. So you can see why gamers were so upset about it. Now, if you can find it for $9.99, that's absolutely tremendous given all the content you're getting. PlayStation VR support is coming. I just can't say enough good things about the turnaround that No Man's Sky has made. Is it a perfect game? No. But yeah, it's definitely a game you can sink over 100 hours into, and you can get it very cheap. Next up, another game you can easily spend over 100, 150, 200 hours on, and that is Monster Hunter World. I see this game go on sale all the time for around that $19.99 range, and for that price, it's absolutely incredible. This was the game that, in my eyes, really kickstarted the Capcom revolution, and that ever since the release of MH World, they have just been putting out killer title after killer title, and it all started with MH World, and it was a tremendous game, a game that looked to take Monster Hunter to a mainstream level, and it really did that. Prior to MH World, Monster Hunter was a known franchise and it was a very respected IP. However, it wasn't a franchise that generally appealed to the mainstream gaming audience. That has completely changed, and Monster Hunter World is now one of the most recognized games in all of gaming, and even at its initial point, it was great, but over time, Capcom has continued to release more content, make it even more engaging, and there's a major expansion coming out as well in Iceborne that will be a paid piece of content. However, Capcom has done more than enough in keeping Monster Hunter World players satisfied through free updates that, yes, I think it's perfectly fine that if they want to release a paid expansion all this time later, they are perfectly in the right to do that, and Monster Hunter World has become an incredible experience. This game is accentuated if you do play with a couple of friends, so I do want to let you guys know that. However, it's very good no matter how you slice it, and if you've never played a Monster Hunter game, this is a great starting point and readily available for $19.99. Yeah, an easy recommendation on this one. Next up is a game that early this generation was kind of heralded for all of the quality content it had to offer, and that is Witcher 3. The Complete Edition specifically is now readily available for $14.99. Now, this was a game that was really holding up that $19.99 price point whenever it went on sale, but then CD Projekt Red, I don't know what it was, and they thought, hey, let's put this game at a deeper discount, and now when it does go on sale on the PlayStation Store, you can get it for $15. So this includes the Witcher 3 base game, which already has a ton of content, already has a ton of replayability, given all the different routes you can take based on dialogue choices and whatever the case may be, but it also has the Hearts of Stone expansion, and it has the Blood and Wine expansion. Those two expansions add a sizable amount of content, anywhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 45 hours, and you're tacking that onto an already expansive base game, yeah, you can easily spend over 100 hours on this one, and given the replayability, given reason to play through the game multiple times, that time can increase quite a bit. Witcher 3 is a phenomenal game, and to me, it really signifies the perfect single-player experience, that it does everything a single-player game needs to do, and it does it well. Gameplay is engaging, the storytelling is incredible, of course visually the game is stunning, and on the PlayStation 4 Pro it's even better, and you get all of that content, $15, an easy buy. Next up, we have Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition. This typically goes on sale for around $9.99. Now, it does have to be mentioned that Divinity Original Sin just had a sequel released on the PlayStation 4. That was back in August, so it's been a little bit. However, it still really holds up in price. You're really not going to see it less than $30, and even if it's less than $30, it'll be like $28. That's very expensive, so it doesn't really meet our threshold of super cheap games that you can play over 100 hours. You can play it for over 100 hours easy, but it's not super cheap quite yet. However, the first title does go super cheap, again $9.99 typically, and it's still a pretty engaging experience. You get that tactical RPG experience, you've got a lot of great storytelling here, a great narrative, visually it's pretty good, and yes, it is a PC-centric game, but it makes a smooth transition to the PlayStation 4, and overall I would say that Divinity Original Sin is a quality game. Now, if you do have a little bit of a higher budget, Divinity Original Sin 2 is a considerably better game, but just know, if you play that game, it's going to be very hard for you to go back and play the first one, so I always recommend play the first one. You'll probably like it, and you'll get excited to play the second one, and the second one will be such a substantial improvement that you'll enjoy that game even more. But Original Sin Enhanced Edition for $9.99, definitely a good buy. And lastly, while BioWare is in the news right now for a lot of negativity, I want to highlight one of their better outings early this generation, and that was Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year Edition, and that is regularly on sale for around $9.99. Now, Dragon Age Inquisition was even a game that got a little bit of flack, but I thought it was a very compelling RPG. Now, it released all the way back in 2014, so at this point, it's been outpaced by some other RPGs like, say, a Witcher 3, but it's definitely up there with some of the better RPGs released this generation, and the Game of the Year Edition includes a lot of DLC content as well, so on top of a base experience, you got a lot of additional content. Gameplay's solid, visually it still holds up really well, narrative is pretty good, and overall, if you like Dragon Age in the past, if you want to play a quality BioWare title, Inquisition I think offers that, and again, when it does go on sale, it's available for around $9.99, so that's a really good buy. Easily, you can spend over 100 hours on it. And that's gonna conclude this video. I hope you guys found this video helpful. There are a lot of super cheap games available on the PlayStation 4, but only a select few can you really spend over 100 hours on. With these games, you can easily do just that. However, there are more games that you can spend 100 hours on. There are games that are constantly getting cheaper and cheaper. We would love to include a game like a Persona 5 in here, but Persona 5 really hasn't hit that $20 threshold, but at some point it will, and we will do an updated video at some point. So that's gonna conclude this video. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.